Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Dimeji Oladele. I'm your host today on your favorite Sunday TV show, Arise. Now, we're located here at 5371 East District, Katy, Texas. We are the King's Palace and Parish of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. We just concluded our first service where Pastor talked about unfailing God. And boy, it was a blessing to me, and I believe to you as well. In a minute, we're going to be taking you to a lobby where folks are getting into the second service, getting ready to get into the second service, and then we're going to be talking to one of the parishioners about what the service meant to him or her. We're going to get somebody. In the meantime, I would like to inform you that we're prepping for 168 hours of nonstop praise. If this is the first time you're hearing about this, we here at the King's Palace. For 5 years now, prior to 5 years, we've done a few, 120 and 72 hours. But for 4 years, this is the fifth season, season 5, we have held 168 hours of nonstop praise to God Almighty. And this year, that's going to start at 10 o'clock, December the 24th, and it'll run till 10 p.m., December the 31st. So it's going to start from 10 p.m., December 31st, to 10 p.m. December 24th to 10 p.m. December 31st, ushering us into the new year 2024. So you do not want to miss it. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be just praise and worship unlimited before God. And if you want to be part of us, if you want to partner with this great vision, please feel free to go to the website. You're going to see the website or a QR code on the screen. Please feel free to scan the QR code to get details on how you can partner with us or how you can volunteer. By the way, we're having a volunteers meeting here in the Ming Sanctuary on the 19th of November, which is next week at 11:30 a.m. for those of you that want to volunteer. So, we're ready. We're pumped. We're ready. We're pumped. 168 hours of nonstop praise to God Almighty. Now, right after talking to somebody in the lobby, I'm going to be bringing a few friends of mine, a few friends of the church, virtual members from around the world. As you know it, at the TKP, we are a global church. We're global people. I'm blessed by a global God. And so we're going to be bringing a few of our members, global members, to kind of talk about the first service, to kind of talk about what they learned, and let's debrief the first service with them. And it's gonna be a great time. So please don't go anywhere. Right after this short interlude, we will be taking you to the lobby where we're having the first service people leaving the campus, and we're having the second service folks coming into the campus. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Awana, and I am bringing you our post-service connect. Today, I have a special guest with me, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
All right. My name is Paul Oboro. I'm one of the youth teachers in the church.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for joining us this morning. As he mentioned, he is one of the youth teachers in the church. So he's going to explain more about the outfit because, Sunday morning, everybody likes to get dressed up. But today you're actually dressed down as if you're going to engage in some sporting activities. Can you explain to us what's going on?
Yes, today is our Youth Sports Sunday. So that's why I'm dressed this way. So at least once every 3 weeks thereabout, we do have a Sports Sunday where we all, after we fellowship a little bit in the youth church, we'll go to the field and go, sweat out and get fit.
Thank you so much. So this is just something that the youth church has put together to make sure that the children just really stay engaged, and also physical activity is also part of the word because you have to treat your spirit, your soul, and your physical body. So speaking of the word, today we talked about the unfailing God. Can you just tell us your big takeaway from the message this morning?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I'm blessed to be here today. My biggest takeaway is that God answers prayers. One of the key texts for the word today is from the book of Genesis 22. And we'll probably know this. So if you don't know, it's about how, God had instructed Abraham to go sacrifice his son. Who would do that? But,
right.
Abraham was, not this day and age.
Right.
But Abraham was very, very, had faith. He prayed. I'm pretty sure he was praying. I'm sure he prayed in his heart that the Lord will provide. Mm-hmm. And guess what? God provided. He didn't sacrifice his son. Instead, God provided a lamb for the Sarah. So I believe that God answers prayers, definitely.
Thank you so much. And I'm just going to say that that was also a really big takeaway. And another thing is that God might not answer the prayer that the way we want it to be answered. So, listening to Abraham, he was probably thinking God would tell him, okay, now you don't have to go anymore. But he had to go through the journey to get there. And then his prayer was answered. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody that's watching. Welcome to Post Service Connect here at the King's Palace. We're family. We love you. And we can't wait to see you in the service. Have a wonderful day.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Oladimeji Oladile, reporting to you live here from our right studio in Katy, Texas, 5371 East P Street, Katy, Texas. I am so happy, so blessed and privileged to have my family, our church family, our virtual members connect with us today. And in no particular order, we have, but especially, we have the chairman of our virtual membership church or a virtual church, Pastor Walia Davey. But I'll introduce everybody in the panel today. So in no particular order, we'll start with Sister Efeosa Eja. They're all ministers of God, and she's located in Preston, the United Kingdom. Welcome. So glad to see you again, Sister Efeosa. You're always on top of Sunday school every Sunday, and we celebrate you. I'm in your class, and I really enjoy your class every Sunday. Thank you very much. Next is my brother. He's been on the show before, Minister Olaoluwa Alamoye from Lagos, Nigeria. Minister Ola, welcome. Glad to have you again.
Thank you.
Awesome. And, last but not the least, I have Pastors Bambo and Wale Adeyi from Dallas, Texas, here in the United States. Welcome, dear Adeyis. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Awesome. So we're going to be talking about, the service today. Pastor, talked about the unfailing God. That was the topic of his sermon today. Again, the text taken from Genesis 22, 11 to 14 was when Abraham was told not to kill his son, but he looked to the corner and he saw a ram, and just God's divine provision. Again, the theme for the month is Jehovah Jireh. Let me ask you, Sister Felsa, how can we remind ourselves of God's unfailing love daily? How can we remind ourselves of God's unfailing love daily? Because in times like this, things could easily go south for a lot of people, even believers. But I believe there's some reminders that we can plug into to pull strength from. So how can we remind ourselves of God's unfailing love daily?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. For me, I would say think back to what God has done. Looking at the text, Abraham thought to himself, God gave us this child when we had lost hope, when all odds were against us. So if he's asking for this child, and I'm really going to sacrifice this child, I believe God will raise him up. But earlier in the verses, I remember him saying to Isaac, when Isaac asked him, where is the lamb? We have the wood, we have everything else. He said God will provide. He had confidence in God already that whatever the case is, God will provide. So looking back on what God has done before helps us remember, or helps us remind ourselves of God's unfailing love, or of the unfailing God. Praise God.
Awesome. Thank you. And for the rest of you, please feel free to chime in if you have to. I'm going to go next to Minister Olaoluwa. In times like this, it's very important that we show our children the God of our fathers. And, I can only imagine Isaac just staying on that slaughter table, waiting for the knife to just cut his neck. But a twist happened, and so the ram was provided. How can we, as parents, especially those that have parents, tell our children or show our children that, listen, no matter how tight we could be, no matter how tight our corners could be, God will still provide. He's still the God that shows unfailing love for us. I mean, you're father of three beautiful children. How do you practically show those children that, listen, Even times when daddy gets back from work and there's no money, or mommy gets back from work and there's no money, or somebody's sick or something, that God is still a God of unfailing love and he'll pull through. What do we do practically?
Yeah, thank you so much, Minister Dimeji. That's a very practical one. What there was a day I remember my son asked me a question. He said, "Dad, what do you like most? What's your favorite thing? If you want to ask something, uh, like you want God to do something for you, or if I want to give you something on your birthday, what will it be?" I said, "I love Ferrari." He said, "Ferrari?" He said, "That's expensive." I said, "But I could buy it." He said, "Do you have money?" I said, "How much was?" I said, "It's like maybe $200,000 or some or thereabout." He said, "But you don't have that money." I said, "Well, God will provide. God will provide." Well, okay, that's fine. So the kids, yeah, they're very interesting. They're God's gift to us, and then they're actually heritage of God. We have that. It's our duty to actually show them God's way. Going back to the question, translating that to the kid, bringing it down to what they could actually understand, simple as going to school, paying your bills, and telling them, even in your school, where you in your class, and all that, even when people think, oh, you can't make it, you can't do this, you can't do that, God will still do it for you. I also remember a day when my son said he's going to contest, for I think head boy of the school or something. I said, "Do you believe you can get it?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Okay, God will do it." I said, "Okay, write something. Just write something." So he wrote something, script something down, and I said, "Okay." And a lot of people brought posters. They did this, they did that. I'm not sure I'm going to win. So he got to school, and something happened. All his friends in school, they drew something on paper, wrote his name, and said, "Oh, Dexter, we love you." And they pasted it all over the school. Alas, he won. He came back, pulling me and then, hugging me. And I said, "Dad, you said it, and it happened." I said, "It's not me." I said, "That is God." So you need to trust God. You need to believe in God. You need to believe that He can do all things. Just like in Genesis 22, verse 14, when God told, when Abraham told his Isaac, "Where's the ram? I have this, that's that. But where's the ram? What are we going to use?" He said, "God will provide." And truly, God showed up.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Minister Ola. I'll get to you there, days, and please feel free to chime in whenever you can. I like what you said about faith, showing the children practical things, faith, and you give examples of how you were able to minister to your children, and now they know the God of their Father. There is sometimes it's very hard for us to acknowledge God's unfailing love, especially when we're in the light of challenges. Almost similar to Minister Ola's questions, it's very, very, very difficult. I mean, I can speak of personal experience. She has personal experience where I think I was talking the other day in the message, and I preached about faith on the Sunday service. I was pumped. Everybody was pumped, ready to go. The power of God was so mighty in the house, and it was just a great and awesome feeling. But in the meantime, we were trying to sell our home, right? And I think the selling of the home was contingent on buying another home. And I think we only had maybe 2 or 3 days. And this house had been on the market for about maybe 60 or 90 days, or some ridiculous number of days. And I, for some reason, preached about faith. And when I got home, I remember saying to my wife that same Sunday, right after service, I said, "Man, I don't even have faith." And she just started laughing. She's like, "Preacher, how can you tell me you don't have faith and then you preach the whole world about faith?" I'm like, "That's me being honest, man. This house has been on the market." And we held hands. She held my hand. She helped me that night to pray. She prayed with me. And believe you me, in the next 2 days, I think the next day or the next 2 days, we got an offer. We got an offer. And so it was really, really tough because I had just confessed Christ to people. But in my closet, I kind of almost denied him because I was saying, "Hey, I already put down some money to buy this other house. And if I didn't sell this other house, I was going to lose that money." So to the Adeis, how do we as believers, when we get to that corner where it's like, man, God is not showing up, what do we do?
What do we do?
Keep trusting.
We keep trusting.
It's hard. It's hard to trust. Don't be
Yeah.
holy here. It's hard to trust. Sometimes.
what do we do? You see, the first thing is that I love Abraham. I love him so much. And actually, it's one of the people I would love to see in heaven. I have some questions I need to ask him. But Abraham recognized the voice of God so much. He recognized when God calls, he will lead and he will meet you where it's leading you to. Abraham knew that from day one. When God called him, you see, Abraham had challenges. He was childless when God called him out. I see people asking him when he was going, Father Abraham, where are you going? He said, I don't know. Some people say, oh, you are a foolish man. You don't know at this age. So why are you going? I know that God called me. I know I heard a voice. The same thing when God told him when he was about to kill the boy, if he did not hear the voice again, he will have killed the boy, thinking that he was still doing the will of God. He had when God asked him to sacrifice the boy. He had God again when God said no. Those are the two contrary things. Why will you ask me to go and kill him when you know that you don't want me to kill him? So there is no formula when it comes to the hearing of God. So the thing is that it has happened to us too in our family. See, our children, when they are growing up, we had college fund for them. All of a sudden, one after the other, we spent the college fund on the project, on the ministry. As they are going to school, one after the other, they started having scholarship. But that time, it was very foolish to us because we had God that, we have money, but we are trusting God for money. God was asking us, why can't you use the money that you have? But we are telling him, God, this is for our children's college. We can't touch it. The money, so eventually we spend it and we told the children. So knowing there are so many challenges, but the first thing is that once you hear the voice of God, that is the primary thing, the foundation. You know who speaks to you. Know who speaks to you. Because the one that speaks, if it is God, every other one that speaks, they are just noise, not voice.
Wow. I like that. I'm gonna have Pastor Bambo say something here. Again, I'm gonna pry. We're family, so I can say this. Let's assume Pastor Wole comes to you and tells you God said to use this college fund to sponsor his work, right? I'm not sure how it happened, who got the message first, but as a wife, as a spouse, as a minister, as a child of God, what was your initial reaction?
Initially, it will be like, I don't think so. But along the line, the Lord himself revealed himself. And I had that peace that it should go. And that has been what has been helping us even all along. At a point in time, even in the ministry, I will fight my husband on some things. I'll be like, hey, your own faith, my faith is not this, we're not on the same level. And, it will be fight almost every time when it comes up with things. But it got to a point that I had that revelation. The Lord himself spoke to me that you have to let go. And each time I'm doing things, I feel frustrated, I feel overwhelmed. And it was like, until you take your focus off of him and you focus on me, then I will help you and make this work easy for you. And I will release help. Until that time, it's been war. But after that, the Lord has made it easy. Even sometimes before he comes with things, I already have it. And I'll be like, yes, I got the same thing. Let's go ahead. And we just trust God. And things have been moving smoothly since then.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great. All right, Mr. Allah, I'll get to you in a bit. Let me get to Mr. Fosa. There's a part in this whole text or chapter that people really don't pay attention to, was the fact that Abraham went with Isaac and maybe one or two servants. The question is, who do we go with when God is asking us to go on a mission? See, they got somewhere and he took his son alone. When do we call it quits with certain people in our lives before we're able to enter into the fullness of God's unfailing love. Do you take everybody with you on that journey, or there's a place that you got to say, time out? You can't go with me. It's just me, myself, and I.
Thank you so much. I believe everyone's call is personal. If we remember when Abraham was called, he took along with him. And the Bible recorded that it was after Lot left him, he heard from God again. So there are times when we need to actually cut off. If there were no issues with himself and Lot about with their headsmen, they would have stayed there and ever God and would have promised and every good thing that. But God had to create. Even when we are unwilling, my point now is even when we are unwilling to cut ties with certain people, God will form out of our lives. So there are two options. One, we will know this person is not following me. We're not heading to the same direction. Let me just leave this person and go. But there are some people that you say, this one, I cannot tell the person to leave now. What will I do? God himself will force them out, like he fought out of Abraham's life. That's what I actually believe. It has worked for me several times. There are so many people I thought that we are going to the same direction with me, and somehow God took them out of my life. And years later, I look back, I was like, oh, so I actually caused this trouble. Because then the thing happened, it didn't make sense. The thing that made us separate, it didn't make sense. So I was like, kind of this kind of trouble and we'll separate. But looking back now, I will now know God didn't, this person would have taken me out. I had so many friends when I was growing up, and God was pulling them out of my life when I thought that I really needed them, because I at a point my eyes was on them, not on God. God had to remove them so that I will face him. And that's a very critical point for us as Christians. When we begin to depend on men, God will remove them from our lives. When we begin to depend on our strength, if there's a job, God will do it. So there are times when we have to make that decision, but when it's difficult, God himself usually steps in. Thank you, praise God.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Finally, here.
Can I just give a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
You can actually
thank you.
You can actually wrap up with that comment. So take your time.
Okay, all right. Going back to God's commandment to Abraham, could it be that Sarah was not aware that Abraham was going to sacrifice the child she gave birth to in her old age? So could it be that if Sarah had known, or if is in the know, she would have prevented that from happening? Women, for who they are, they can go to any length to actually get what they want. So you want to kill my only son, the son I gave birth to in my. So what I'm saying in essence is, probably Abraham did not, because the Bible didn't tell us. Abraham did not let her know, because she might prevent that, from happening. When God gives us a vision, and it's not something you do alone, you are the visionary, but you have vision helpers. And God himself, if we have to wait in the place of prayer, because God himself is going to provide, is going to tell us, going back to that 22 verse 14, Genesis, God is going to provide that helper. He's going to give you direction. He's not just going to tell you, go, and I won't provide. Said God will provide. Just take what I have asked you to do. I will provide you vision helpers. Those who are not meant to be there, they will fall by the side. They will fall by the side way. They're going to fall.
Thank you very much. We're getting ready to head into our second service. I mean, for those of you watching, again, this is Arise Show. We have this show in between our first and second service, and we are so blessed that you've joined us. Again, I have my family, my friends, the Adays from Dallas, Texas, Sister Filsa from Preston, United Kingdom, Braula from Lagos, Nigeria, have joined us to debrief Pastor's topic about God's unfailing love in the first service. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you guys for joining us. They are our virtual church members. They participate week in, week out. They're part of this family, and we want to celebrate you guys, for just joining Arise this morning. And I hope you guys are looking forward to 168 hours of praise. And we're really trusting God that you guys will show up for 168 hours of praise this year. It's been a blessing having you today. God bless you. Regards to the family. And for those of you watching, please gather your friends, gather your family. If you're living in the Houston area, 5371 East 5th Street, Katy, Texas, 77493. If not, join us online. Share the link that you're watching on right now. Any social media platform you're watching on, share the link and join us in the second service. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.